So we're going to take a look at integers, and integers are going to include both positive and negative figures, and we're going to look at how to do arithmetic with those. So in integers, I have numbers that exist beyond 0. Whole numbers would be the numbers from 0 forward, and integers are really what allows us to have negative bank balances, negative movement when we're going backwards, and various other things. We also have something called opposites. So if I add two integers together, like 2 and negative 2, and I get 0, I consider those to be opposite numbers. So with adding and subtracting integers, it's often really good to start off with a number line. And so positive numbers would be movement to the right, negative numbers would be movement to the left. So if I'm looking at 3 plus 5, I would start at positive 3. And because I'm adding, I would go to the right, and I would go to the right by 5 units, which is 8. So we all have a pretty good basis for that. But what about when I have 9 and 12? So 9 is positive, so I'm going to move over to 9. Then because the 12 is negative, I'm going to go left 12 spaces to get negative 3. What's probably going to be more helpful as an adult learner is if someone borrows $12 and they only have a bank balance of 9, it's typically pretty easy for us to arrive at negative 3. So when we work on subtraction of integers, that gets a little more tricky because you could have subtraction of negative numbers, which is less like what we see in a bank account. So I should know that a minus b is the same thing as a plus negative b. Some of you may have heard this in your classes when they talk about the change pieces of converting subtraction into addition of a negative number. So I have several models here that help you understand how to maneuver around addition and subtraction of positive and negative numbers, as well as multiplication and division. So if you look here, a positive times a positive is a positive. A positive times a negative is a negative. A negative times a positive is a negative, and a negative times a negative is a positive. So if I'm looking for rules of multiplying integers, if they have the same sign, then the answer is going to be positive. If they have opposite signs, the answer is going to be negative. So here's an example. If I had negative 8 times negative 3, those are the same sign, so it's going to be positive. If I do division, it's going to follow the same rule I just used. So in division, if I have the same sign, the answer is going to be positive. So that's why I get negative 20 divided by positive 5 is going to be, negative 20 divided by negative 5 is going to be positive 4 because they have the same sign. So if I'm looking to write these into rules, then this is how I would utilize them using exactly what I just told you. But it is important to announce that you can't divide by 0. So when we have divided by 0, it's undefined. So here are some calculations to do with integers. How would I get to the answer here? I would have to work from the left parentheses. So first I have to figure out what is negative 4 minus negative 9. So again, if you remember that change thing your teacher may have said in previous grades, I would get negative 4 change, which would be plus positive 9. So if I'm negative $4 in my bank account and I deposit 9, that's going to give me a balance of 5. Then I have to deal with and figure out, okay, what is negative 6 plus negative 2? Well, they have the same sign, so I'm going to add them together and give them a sign of negative 8. 5 plus negative 5 would be 4. So now I have 5 times negative 8 divided by 4. Negative 8 and 4 have different signs, so the answer is negative. And then you multiply by 5 to get negative 10. So there's a lot of pieces there of making sure that you correctly do the multiplication so that you can arrive at the correct answer.